Hello and welcome back to another video. So, in today's video, we're going to talk all about nutritional phases for success, for fat loss success. And this one's an important one because we're diving deep in why you haven't actually gotten results up until now with your fat loss and weight loss journey. And we're going to talk about what nutritional periodization is and phasing your nutrition is. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what is nutritional periodization? Now, if you have never heard of what periodization means, periodization simply means to phase your workouts or your nutrition. So in having different phases and different cycles with different objectives through your fat loss journey. So when it comes to workouts, periodization means to plan your workouts in advance, right? To know what you're doing phase by phase. And with nutrition, it's the same. So today we're going to talk about phasing your nutrition and why it matters for fat loss success. I'm going to take you through different phases and what they're for and why we do them and their benefits. And then I'm also going to give you a little sneak peek into the lean method, which is the method to which I coach my clients in the Metabolic Rebuild program. So we're going to talk all about how to make fat loss, weight loss successful using nutrition periodization. So what it is first is simply phased nutrition. So phases of different you're going through phases of using different protocols and different objectives throughout your journey. And why does it matter? So if you have ever embarked on a diet, okay, and I'm sure you have, literally, I don't know anybody who has never dieted in their life, right? So if you've embarked on a diet in the past, you were actively pursuing a fat loss goal, right? You were in a diet, you were actively pursuing weight loss. Now, when we talk about active pursuit of goals, usually that is a fat loss phase, okay? So that's a phase where you put your body into a calorie deficit for a specified amount of time, and you want to lose fat or weight. That is the objective. Then there is another phase called maintenance, okay? Maintenance is a phase where we actually want to be in maintenance most of the time, okay? So that's where we eat, okay, to maintain our current body weight, and we stay the same. And sometimes I also like to call it momentum, because you're maintaining, but you're also getting momentum and moving in the right direction of your goals, and you're, making sure that you are staying the same. And sometimes that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing, right? Ensuring that you are able to maintain your results is crucial. Then you also have a build phase. So build phases are also called bulks in the bodybuilding community. Bulk phases or build phases are, an active pursuit of a goal where you are actively eating more to build muscle, okay? So this is a very important phase in your journey, and most women actually never do this. And this is why they don't see the results that they want. This is why they don't build that toned body that they want, because they never spend time building, okay? So most women that I meet are perpetually in a fat loss phase. Most women that I meet are literally always dieting. So why does it matter to periodize and or phase your nutrition? because each phase has a specific purpose and each phase has a specific outcome. And if you're always in a fat loss phase and you're always trying to lose weight, you're always trying to lose fat, you're never going to make progress in the long term, because you're always going to be stuck spinning your wheels in that specific phase. And this is what is called yo-yo dieting. So the difference between yo-yo dieting, or being on versus being off a diet, compared to nutritional periodization, is that it's so much it's so much easier, and you reach your goals way quicker and faster if you periodize your nutrition and if you have phases to your nutrition. And we're going to talk about why in a moment. So you've heard fat loss, you've heard building, and you've heard maintenance. Now, there's also other phases that can be interwoven into these different phases, and that is diet breaks, reverse dieting. Now, reverse dieting, I'm not going to go super deep today. I might make a separate video, but reverse dieting is very simple, and it's actually a fairly new concept in the nutrition space, which was popularized and discovered by famous bodybuilder and PhD Dr. Lane Norton. And he was the one who basically, brought reverse dieting out of the bodybuilding community and made it popular and made it something that a lot of people are now doing, and a lot of nutritionists are using, and coaches as myself are using reverse dieting to improve people's metabolism. So what is reverse dieting? Now, reverse dieting is a phase of nutrition where you focus on rebuilding the metabolism from years of yo-yo dieting, or spending a lot of time in a deficit or dieting, and you slowly reverse your calories. So you are increasing your calories slowly over time. So let's say you're eating only 1,200 calories and you're not making any progress, you're struggling, you're not seeing results, and you've been doing this for a long time, then reverse dieting will just simply help you increase those calories over time, so that you increase your basal metabolic rate and you increase your total daily energy expenditure, so that when you diet again further down the line, you can diet on higher calories. We always want to be able to diet on eating the most food. We don't want to start a diet phase or fat loss phase eating super low calories, and this is what everyone does. They go on MyFitnessPal, they enter their stats and their goals, etc., and boom, it spouts out 1,200 calories. For the majority of women, this is not enough food, okay? So when I work with clients in my program, 1,200 calories is like the lowest calories that we would ever go to towards the end of a fat loss phase, not in the beginning. And very rarely we actually get there, because we can diet on higher calories. I can help my clients lose weight on higher calories. So reverse dieting is a great method. There's not a lot of evidence or studies yet to support that it works, but there has been a lot of anecdotal and evidence to show that it does. And so the bodybuilding community has used it for a long time now to reverse people who have been on a very low fat loss phase for competitions, for bodybuilding competitions, and reverse them back out to a more healthy calorie intake. And so that's what it is. Reverse dieting is just dieting backwards, okay? So instead of reducing your calories, you're increasing your calories over time, and this can actually rebuild the metabolism. And this is what I use in my program in the coaching method. So reverse dieting is simply metabolic rebuilding. And why do we need metabolic rebuilding? Why do we need to rebuild the metabolism? So if you're someone who's been struggling to lose weight for a long time, or you're someone who's on and off constantly, you've yo-yo dieted in the past, your body has now adapted to these low calories. And so let's give you an example. So if you are somebody who so much, and I hear this a lot, so much as looks at, fattening or high fat foods and gains weight, you hear that a lot. Oh, I can't even look at that because I'll gain weight. So anyone who eats a little bit more than 1,400 calories, they will gain weight. Why? Because maybe they started dieting on those calories. They went on a diet and they started tracking calories, counting calories, and they did this for several months, maybe even years. There's a lot of people out there who have dieted for a long, long time. And now their maintenance has become low, okay? They maintain their current weight at 1,200 calories or 1,300 calories or 1,400 calories. So anything a little bit over, they will gain weight. And so they are they are in such a place where there's nowhere to go from there. Okay, so there's nowhere to go from there, and therefore they are just better off getting off the diet train and moving into a metabolic rebuilding phase. And so metabolic rebuilding is what I do in my program, and it's got, a lot of evidence behind it. And there's different ways you can do it. There's different ways that you can rebuild your metabolism. You can rebuild your metabolism by reverse dieting, so increasing your calories if you are stuck on low calories. There is metabolic rebuilding where you engage your metabolism by eating on schedule, eating enough protein, mastering the basics basically. So priming your metabolism is crucial. And I do this with all of my clients before we even get to the fat loss phase, because so many people, so many women do not have routines, do not have the basics, laid down. They don't have any foundations. And so they go into a diet and they're disordered eating habits. They're not eating enough protein. They're not eating enough vegetables. They're not drinking enough water. They're eating sporadic times. They don't understand macros. They don't understand how to build a healthy, balanced meal. And so their sleep is all jacked up and they just don't feel good. They're not exercising. They're not training. They're not moving. And so they automatically go onto a diet phase. They go from that to a fat loss phase and they get nowhere. Okay, they start feeling terrible. They feel worse off. They can't stick to the diet and it's too restrictive, or they aren't sleeping properly and they get cravings and then they quit and then they blame themselves. But it's not their fault. Okay, so the reason is because they did it wrong. They did it the wrong way. They did not lay the foundations. They didn't prime their metabolisms. They did not engage their metabolism. They did not rebuild their metabolism. So metabolic rebuilding is so crucial. If you've never tried this, I encourage you to reach out. Let's chat. Let's talk about your metabolic history and let's see if you need a metabolic rebuilding phase. Chances are you do. Chances are that so many of you actually need this. Most women that are under eating or chronically dieting, yo-yo dieting, need a metabolic rebuilding phase. So that is what I start with all my clients with. Okay, so we always start, and that varies with how long each client needs to be in a metabolic rebuilding phase. Some clients, they don't need to be in this phase for very long, and some clients need to be in this for 3 to 6 months. It really depends. If you have a very long history of yo-yo dieting, if you have a very long history of gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, or going on crash diets, crazy diets, fad diets, then you might need longer. And remember that if you skip this phase, fat loss is going to be so much harder and very frustrating, and your body might not respond. Why won't it respond? Because like I said before, if you've been eating 1,200 calories for a very long time, your body has now adapted to 1,200 calories. Metabolic adaptation. Most people think it's starvation mode, but it's not. Starvation mode does not exist. It's metabolic adaptation. Your body is very resilient. Your body will adapt to any stimulus that you put it through. And so if you stop feeding it a certain amount of food, it will adapt and it will slow its metabolic rate down. Your metabolism will slow down. You will move less naturally and you will burn less calories. And therefore your metabolism doesn't burn enough calories. And now anytime you eat 100 calories extra, 200 calories extra, or you binge on the weekends, you will gain weight because now all those calories are a surplus for you. They're no longer a deficit. So metabolic rebuilding, super important. Now, phase 3, okay, so we're looking at the different phases, okay, of nutrition periodization. Phase 3, fat loss, okay? So we've talked about reverse dieting, we've talked about metabolic restoration, rebuilding, and priming. Now we're talking about a fat loss phase. So what happens in a fat loss phase? What is the objective? Well, to lose fat and lose weight. How do we do this? We are doing this through a caloric deficit, okay? So when we are in a metabolic rebuilding phase, we are not in a calorie deficit. We are eating at maintenance, okay? Or we are trying to find our maintenance. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks to discover where we're at with our baseline. Now that we know our baseline, you've spent time priming your metabolism, you are now in a better place to lose fat. So you move into a fat loss phase, and fat loss means calorie deficit, eating less than your body burns. So if you're not losing weight, guys, if you're not losing fat, you're not in a calorie deficit. That's the simple version, okay? Now, I see this a lot in groups where people complain, oh, I've been tracking, I've been doing this, I'm training and this and that and the other, but I'm not seeing results. You're not in a fat loss phase. You're not in a calorie deficit. You need to review where you're at. It could be different reasons that you're not actually in a calorie deficit. It could be that you're not tracking correctly. It could be that you're forgetting to track certain foods. It could be that you're actually not in the amount that you're actually eating is not a calorie deficit for you, right? Again, going back to that example, maybe you are now in a surplus or maintenance. So maybe you do need a metabolic reboot, okay? Metabolic rebuild phase. So that is very personal, okay? Everybody is different, but to lose fat, you need to be in a caloric deficit. So during a fat loss phase, it should be literally in and out. You should not be pursuing fat loss for longer than 12 weeks at a time. So if you have been in a diet phase for 6 months to a year or longer, God forbid you've been on this for longer than a year, get out of that phase. Get out of fat loss, okay? Your metabolism has now adapted, okay? So you need to rebuild it. So if you want to go in a fat loss phase, 3 months maximum, okay? Because for every fat loss phase that you go on, you need to spend time in maintenance to solidify your results. If you're constantly chasing fat loss and not seeing results, it's time to move out of a fat loss phase. And if you've never, embarked on a fat loss phase before, then maximum 3 months, no longer than 3 months. And then after you finish your fat loss phase, you need to incorporate a reverse, okay? You cannot go back to your old ways of eating because you will gain that weight back. It's like you're on a diet of 1,500 calories, 1,600 calories, and then you've gotten to your goal weight and now all of a sudden you go back to 2,000 calories. You're going to gain weight. It's normal. What you need to do is you need to reverse out. So going back to that reverse dieting that I talked about, reversing out slowly, building your body back to maintenance calories. So this is what maintenance looks like. You're slowly reversing out of those low calories, okay? You're maintaining your new weight that you have reached, and you stay there for at least 2 to 3 months before you go into another fat loss phase. And if you've got a lot of weight to lose, you could like, let's say you've got 20, 30, 40 kilos to lose, then you can repeat the process. Again, you go back into your fat loss phase, and because you have more fat on your body is more resilient to adaptations, metabolic adaptations. So you can actually go into another fat loss phase a lot sooner than, say, someone who is a lot leaner than you. So this is, maybe you can take like a week or 2 diet break and then go back into another fat loss phase if you have a lot of weight to lose. And you repeat this process until you get to your goal weight. One of my clients, Paul, this is what he did. He had a lot of weight to lose. He had 50 kilos to lose, but we had to do this in phases. I couldn't have him diet for an entire year. Okay, so we had him in phases. We gave him breaks in between. We had him solidify in maintenance phases. So he solidified his new weight, and that is lifestyle integration. Learning how to integrate your habits into your lifestyle and staying there, not gaining that weight back. Remember, we don't want to yo-yo diet constantly. So once you've gotten to your goal, you want to get out of that diet phase quick. Fat loss should be quick. It should be efficient, not inefficient and slow. Okay, so think of quick, in and out, and then you're done. You move into maintenance. That is where you want to spend the most time, in maintenance. So there's another phase that I talked about in the beginning, which is a build phase. Okay, and this is something that not a lot of women do, and this is actually why they never get the body that they want. They never get that toned body that they're searching and they're trying so hard to get, because they've never built any muscle. So looking toned and getting toned requires you to build muscle, and you cannot build muscle efficiently when you're in a deficit. Muscle requires food, energy to build. Okay, you need food to build muscle. And in a deficit, yes, you can build some muscle, but it's not the objective, right? It's the objective in a deficit or in a fat loss phase is to lose fat and, break down tissue, right? We're breaking fat tissue down. The objective is not to build tissue. Whereas in a building phase, you are eating in a surplus, or you're eating at maintenance, or in a slight surplus over maintenance, and you are in a great position to build. You're in an anabolic phase, whereas fat loss is catabolic. All right, breaking down tissue, building up tissue. So bulking and cutting, this concept is very bodybuilding, but you can do this without wanting to be a bodybuilder, without seeking to be a bodybuilder. This is just simply using what bodybuilders have done for years and years and years and tailoring it to a general population client. This is what I do with my clients. I don't have them doing, crazy bulks and crazy cuts, because most people don't need them. Okay, they're not looking to step on stage, but borrowing what the bodybuilders do and tailoring it to my clients has been a game changer for my clients' results. It's been a game changer for my coaching method and the way I coach my clients, because now every time a client comes on and works with me, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know which phase they're in, and they know why there's certain adaptations, and they know what to expect. They're not just kind of floating around in this diet land, not knowing where they're going. And they have an objective, and they know what they're doing each and every phase. Okay. And this means that they can enjoy life, and they can tailor their goals exactly to their lifestyle, because they know, okay, well, if I'm in an active pursuit of fat loss, then these are the trade-offs. Okay, I need to be losing fat, and I need to be in a diet phase for a certain amount of time, but then I'm done and I'm out, and I can go back to living my normal everyday life in maintenance, because that's where they should be most of the time. Or if they're in a build phase, they know that they need to eat more food and they might gain weight. That's okay. It's part of the process to build muscle. So they know where they're at in the process of pursuit of their goals. And this makes all the difference in compliance, in adherence, in my clients enjoying the lifestyle, enjoying the process, and getting to their goals without frustration. Of course, it's not easy, okay? I never said that, but they know where they're at in the journey, and this makes all the difference, okay? So building is extremely important, and for most of the clients that come to work with me, they come for fat loss, but then at some point, once they reach their goals, it's like, okay, well, now we need to build, because we can't keep cutting, okay, we can't keep breaking down tissue, we now need to rebuild, we now need to build some muscle. Can you build muscle in a deficit? Yes. But is it optimal? No. If you're a complete newbie or someone who's never lifted weights in their life, then yes, you might see some newbie gains in a fat loss phase with your training. But overall, at some point, you're going to need to spend time building. You're going to need to spend time feeding your body, fueling your body, because that is how you make progress. Now, all of this might sound really confusing, so I'm going to break it down really simply, okay? In the lean method, which is how I coach my clients, it's my tried and tested sustainable method of fat loss in my Metabolic Rebuild program. We have 3 main active pursuit of goal phases. We have metabolic restoration, or in other words, rebuilding the metabolism. We have fat loss, okay, fat loss acceleration, and we have new lifestyle integration. Those 3 main phases are what's going to get you to your fat loss goals. So we start you off in engaging your metabolism, priming your metabolism, and rebuilding your metabolism by laying some foundations, making sure that your health is in the right place, your metabolic health is in the right place, you're eating enough calories, you're fueling your body, and you're sleeping well, and you're getting the nutrition that your body needs in order to build that metabolism back up. We spend for anywhere from 3 to 6 months doing this, depending on the client, okay? It's not the same for every client. Fat loss acceleration would come next. So the next phase is fat loss, and we spend no more than 12 weeks on fat loss. So 8 to 12 weeks is my favorite. I do mini cuts, 8 weeks, or full 12-week cut phases. And this is where we use my pro-metabolic eating plan. We are training in a specific way to support fat loss, and we are eating in a certain way to support fat loss, which is in a calorie deficit. And we are in and out. Once you have reached your goal, and in this phase, I incorporate diet breaks depending on how much weight you have to lose. We incorporate reverse dieting if you have a lot of weight to lose. And we move into phase 3, which is new lifestyle integration. This is where we have an exit strategy. So you've gotten to your goal weight, you have reached your goal weight. Now we need an exit strategy. What are we going to do after the diet after the diet? We need that. We can't just go back to our old habits. We will gain the weight back. This is why people are stuck yo-yo dieting. This is why you might lose 12 kilos and then gain 16 back, okay? Because you don't have an exit strategy. When you finish a fat loss phase, your body is literally in such a place that is it's ready to absorb all the nutrition and fuel that you will give it. So if you end your fat loss phase at quite low calories, which can happen, and all of a sudden you go from 1,200 calories to 2,000 calories, you're going to gain weight. So you need an exit strategy. You need a fat loss you need an exit strategy from this fat loss phase. And this is where reverse dieting comes in, and we slowly reverse you out. So we increase your calories slowly over time to rebuild you back to maintenance. And then we stay at maintenance. Do you go back to your old habits? No, you cannot go back to your old ways if you want to keep your new body. You can't, okay? You have to remember that what got you there is what keeps you there. Okay, if you're using unsustainable methods to get you to your goal body, it's going to be unsustainable to stay there. you're not going to be able to sustain it. You're not going to be able to stay there. And so that is why you need to make it sustainable. That is why my pro-metabolic eating method in the fat loss phase is sustainable. We eat a certain amount of foods that fill you up, that are satiating, but also no food is bad. We have some guidelines, but generally I don't put so many these food rules on my clients, because that is not sustainable. And when you stop the diet, then what, you can't eat those foods again, or if you eat them, then you'll gain weight. No, we're not doing that. So exit strategy is crucial. So once we finish that fat loss phase, it's going to take anywhere between 8 to 16 weeks to reverse you out and to rebuild your metabolism back from fat loss phase, from the calorie deficit. And this is where you can change your goal, right? You can go into a maintenance phase and you can stay in maintenance and build, or you can go into a build phase and you can continue building muscle right there. And so you can even go into more intuitive eating, okay? In new lifestyle integration phase, you can just integrate a more flexible approach. And maybe you don't need to track so, meticulously, but because you've spent enough time tracking that you know how much to eat and what's enough for you, okay? So these phases are the key to success. And this is what makes me different as a coach. This is what makes the Metabolic Rebuild program different from all the other diets that you see out there, all the other programs that you see out there, is that we use nutritional periodization. We use the lean method to get you from frustrated dieter with no end in sight when it comes to getting to your goals to a structured, phased approach where you go and you know exactly what you're doing and you get to your goal and you get the results that you want, and then you enjoy the results. You enjoy the results, but also enjoy the process. And so I hope this has made sense, and you can let me know in the comments below if it has, and if it hasn't, well, I hope that we can chat more and we can discuss this. Maybe it pertains to you and your goals, and you want to kind of know about how to do this all within your kind of context of your own goals. Send me a DM, drop me a comment, and we can chat more about this, okay? This is something that you might not have never heard before. Maybe it's something that's totally new to you, okay? And I'm more than happy to help you on your health and fitness journey, on your fat loss journey. And if the Metabolic Rebuild program is something that you have been thinking about doing, you have wondered what it's all about, and you want to talk about the program and how it fits your goals, then again, send me a DM and we can chat about that. So guys, I hope today's video has helped you and helped you understand what nutritional periodization is and how to incorporate it into your lifestyle. If you don't know how to do it, again, you can join the Metabolic Rebuild program and follow the lean method, which is the system that I use within my coaching. So reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.